Okay guys, today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be swapping out the track bar on this Jeep TJ Willis edition. Okay, yeah, as you can see it does have a 4-inch lift on it, and actually currently does have an adjustable track bar already on the Jeep. It's a rough country model, but we're going to go ahead and be removing that rough country track bar and replacing it with a Superlift track bar. Okay, it's also adjustable. The reason I went with the Superlift track bar is not only because it's relatively inexpensive, but also because it actually replaces this stock bolt over here, which the rough country uses, with a much thicker 1/2 inch bolt. So it will have to be drilled out and replaced. And it also has a instead of rubber bushing, it has a polyurethane bushing, which is a lot more firm, and it'll keep that death wobble from occurring. Okay, so it's a pretty simple process. I'm just gonna highlight some of the things you'll need to do to get this swap completed. Obviously, you're gonna have to remove that. You do need a special tool to remove that that part of the track bar, and I'll show you what tool that is. And let's get started. We'll get this started. So here's that tool, the ball joint separator. Rented that at AutoZone for 15 bucks. That'll help separate the bushing from the frame of the Jeep. And since we're using a polyurethane bushing, this is the grease that we'll need to apply to the bushing. Okay, and here's the drill bit that I purchased, a 1/2 inch drill bit to go ahead and widen that hole. Okay, so let's take a look at the actual product, the actual Superlift track bar, and see what it looks like. Alright, so here's everything that comes with the Superlift kit, track bar kit. Of course, this comes with the track bar and then all the hardware. One thing I like about this kit, like I said, is going to be the big bolt for the axle side. Okay, you do have to drill it out. But look how solid that is, and we'll compare it with the little flimsy one that came stock on the TJ. Okay, but that's a nice size bolt, and then it also comes with this piece right here, which kind of resembles the stock piece, which makes it a lot easier for you to install. That way you don't have to put a wrench back there. You just put it back behind the frame and then just start screwing it down. Okay, here are the bushings. These are nice. And you can see there's not that much deflection in them, which will keep the death wobble away. Okay. Okay. It doesn't come with it comes with a different type of style on top. Here it is right here. I'm not sure what it's called. I think it's called like a Johnny joint or something. Correct me if I'm wrong. But that's it right there. It is exposed to the elements, so you might want to put some grease on there every so often. But other than that, it looks like a pretty solid piece in my opinion. Of course, well, time will tell whether it's going to last or not. But let's go ahead and get it installed, and hopefully we don't have any issues. Okay, so the removal starts right here on this end, and what we're doing basically is I got a ratchet in there with the size 3/4, taking that top bolt off. It's pretty easy to come off. Once you loosen it, you can pretty much break it. Once you break it free, you can pretty much loosen it with your fingers. So I've already broken it free here. I'm gonna go ahead and remove it. I mean, it can be easier to remove the end link here, but in this case, it's not really necessary. So you can save a little bit of time doing that there. But I'm gonna go ahead and remove my fingers. Once I remove that end, we'll take out the other end, the axle side end, and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so now that the castle nut is removed, we're going to go ahead and separate it. Okay, and the only way you can do that is or make things a lot easier, is going to be with this ball joint separator that I rented from AutoZone. Okay, so it's pretty easy to use. We're going to take it out of the box, and we're just going to wedge it right there, and then we're going to give it some blows with a hammer to go ahead and separate that. Okay. Now doing this, if you're reusing the bushing, it may cause the damage to the bushing, so just keep in mind of that. You might need to replace the bushing if you're removing this for and then going to be reusing the bushing, so that might damage the bushing whenever you try to remove it, so you might need to buy new bushing for that. Other than that, just separate it. Once it's separated there, we'll go ahead and remove the other bolt on the axle side. So I'm not going to show this, it's pretty loud, but I'm going to go ahead and take that off, and then we'll take out the axle side. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to drill out the hole, enlarge it. There's the hole right there. There's our half bit drill. And we're going to go ahead and put that hole in there, make that hole bigger so we can fit in the bigger bolt. We'll go ahead and do that right now. Okay, so now that the hole is drilled, we're going to go ahead and install the bushing. Go ahead and put the bushing together to see how it looks like. Okay, so it's basically the sleeve, the two halves, and then there's a large washer that goes in the middle. I'm going to go ahead and lube it up with this lithium grease, and then slot it here, and then of course use the bolt and put it down here. Okay, so pretty simple stuff. Instructions are very detailed, but this is just kind of like a handy guide so you know what's going on. But let me go ahead and get that installed, and we'll look at the final project, final installation after it's been all installed and together. Take a test drive and see if there's any difference in the handling of the vehicle. Before it was very sloppy. Wasn't death wobbling, but felt like it wanted to. There was some vibration in the steering wheel. So let's see if this will solve the problem. If not, we'll keep looking for that vibration. All right. Okay, so the installation is complete. The track bar. And there's the frame side. I have driven it already. The steering does feel a lot more solid. There seems to be a lot less vibration at the steering wheel. And overall, I'm pleased so far. I will report back if there's any dissatisfaction. Again, this is the installation and review of the Superlift Adjustable Track Bar for the TJ Jeep.